Have you ever felt lost, like you're carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders? Loneliness, uncertainty, the feeling of being alone in the storm. These emotions are common, but the good news is you're not alone on this journey. There's a profound truth, a transformative reality that can illuminate your path and bring peace to your heart. We're talking about a higher power, an unconditional love that accompanies you every step of the way, through every challenge, every moment. Discover how this truth, the certainty that you're never truly alone, can completely change your perspective and your life. Imagine a world where uncertainty transforms into confidence, fear into courage, and loneliness into deep connection. Imagine the serenity that comes from knowing that even amidst the storms, you are not abandoned. This is not an empty promise. It's a reality that can be experienced. Learn to recognize and connect with this constant, powerful presence that accompanies you, guiding and loving you unconditionally. This journey will lead you to a transformative encounter, uncover the secrets of divine presence, enjoy a new level of understanding about yourself and the world around you. You'll find clarity, hope, and a renewed purpose in every step. Get ready to discover why you're never truly alone and how this truth can bring meaning and joy to your journey. The truth about your loneliness awaits you. Don't waste any more time feeling lost or overwhelmed. Open your heart to the revelation that's about to unfold. Prepare for an experience that will forever change the way you see life. Modern life, with its constant pressures and demands, often isolates us. Routine, responsibilities, and the complexities of daily life can make us feel overwhelmed and alone, even amidst relationships and activities. This sense of isolation can sometimes become a heavy burden, impacting our mental and emotional well-being. The search for meaning and purpose becomes even more crucial in a scenario where loneliness seems to be constantly growing. Understanding why you are never truly alone lies in the ability to find comfort and strength in moments of difficulty. Imagine the feeling of despair facing an unsolvable problem, or the anguish of feeling misunderstood. In such situations, the certainty that we are not alone becomes an anchor, a fundamental support for our journey. The answer to the question, why are you never truly alone? Many cultures and traditions around the world recognize the importance of connecting with something beyond our own selves. This search for something greater connects us to a purpose, a community, and a more comprehensive perspective on life. To deeply understand the idea that we are never truly alone, it's essential to understand the concept of a divine presence or a spiritual force that accompanies us. This presence can manifest in various ways, such as the compassion of others, the intrinsic wisdom of nature, or the tranquility that arises in moments of introspection. Finally, it's crucial to recognize that loneliness, at its core, is a subjective experience. The feeling of isolation can be the result of external factors, such as difficult relationships or social pressures, but it can also be amplified by the lack of a deeper connection with something greater. Understanding this dynamic is crucial to finding the peace and security we seek. Discover the transformative truth that you are never truly alone. Subscribe now to deepen your knowledge and participate in discussions. Your experience and feedback are valuable to the community. Share your reflections and continue learning with us. To deeply understand the idea that you are never truly alone, you need to go beyond theory. The first step is to recognize your own experiences of loneliness, even amidst other people. Identify moments when you felt isolated, even in a group. For example, in a work meeting, you might feel excluded or distant despite being physically present. Reflect on these moments. What triggered them? Was it a lack of communication? A feeling of inadequacy? Identifying these triggers is fundamental to starting to build a deeper relationship with the idea that you are never truly alone. Next, Look for concrete examples in your life. Remember moments when you felt embraced, supported, or understood by others, even unconsciously. Perhaps it was a friend, a family member, or even a stranger who offered a gesture of kindness. These experiences demonstrate the existence of connections, even when we don't perceive them immediately. Now transform this understanding into practice. Begin to cultivate more meaningful relationships. Seek out support groups, online or local communities that share your interests. Interacting with people who think like you can strengthen your sense of belonging. Finally, practice self-compassion. Remember that it's normal to feel alone at times. The important thing is to recognize this emotion and find constructive ways to deal with it, seeking support and connecting with something greater than yourself. Imagine a typical day, full of tasks and responsibilities. You feel overwhelmed, pressures mount, and the feeling of being alone grows within you. A project at work is consuming you, family pressures weigh you down, and even surrounded by people, you feel increasingly isolated. This is a crucial point, a moment where understanding that you are never truly alone can make all the difference. This feeling of isolation often manifests in a vicious cycle. You withdraw into yourself, avoiding people, which further exacerbates the feeling of loneliness. The result is a downward spiral of negativity and despair. It is in this moment of fragility that the lack of understanding of this fundamental truth can become an insurmountable obstacle. Consider the situation of a recent graduate facing the competitive job market. Insecurity and pressure to stand out can create a profound sense of isolation. Without understanding that he is not alone on this journey, he may give up on his dreams and sink into a sea of uncertainties. Or consider a couple facing a crisis in their relationship. Communication breaks down and emotional distance sets in. If they fail to understand the importance of God's presence amidst the storm, despair can lead to an irreparable break. In these crucial moments, the truth that we are never truly alone becomes the anchor that keeps us afloat. This is the time to change. This is the time to break this vicious cycle and find the strength to move forward. Understanding the reality that you are never truly alone is not just comfort. It's a practical tool for facing life's challenges and building healthier, more meaningful relationships. To understand the profound truth that we are never truly alone, we need to deconstruct the idea of isolation. Imagine yourself in a crowd, at a crowded event. Despite being surrounded by people, you might feel lonely. This is because loneliness isn't just the absence of people, but the absence of connection. A crucial first step is to recognize that loneliness is a subjective experience. What one person considers lonely, another might not. The key is to identify what causes this feeling in you. Is it a lack of communication, fear of judgment, or perhaps the need for a deeper purpose? Understanding the presence of God or a higher power is fundamental. Many cultures and religions offer examples of individuals who, even in times of great adversity, found comfort and guidance in something beyond themselves. This connection can be found in moments of prayer, in nature, or in meaningful relationships. A practical example is prayer. By connecting with something greater, you open yourself to the possibility of receiving support and guidance. The Bible, for example, is full of stories of people who, in moments of deep anguish, found strength and hope in the divine presence. Another important aspect is the importance of relationships. Even amidst adversity, it's essential to maintain meaningful connections. Seeking out friends, family, or support groups can be crucial to overcoming loneliness. These relationships can be a channel for the strength and encouragement needed. Finally, practicing self-compassion is essential. Accept your feelings of loneliness without judgment. Understand that it's normal to feel this way at times. Finding ways to care for yourself, whether through relaxing activities or therapy, is essential to dealing with loneliness constructively. Imagine a college student overwhelmed by the demands of studies and finances. Pressure for academic success and financial insecurity can create a profound sense of isolation. A strategy to deal with this is to create a realistic study schedule and seek job or internship opportunities. Organization and action are essential to overcoming the feeling of being overwhelmed. Another example is a professional facing conflicts in their work environment. Lack of recognition or inadequate communication can create a feeling of exclusion. An effective strategy is to communicate your needs and expectations clearly and assertively, seeking support from colleagues or superiors. Open communication and the search for collaborative solutions can minimize isolation. A common challenge is the difficulty in establishing meaningful connections. Sometimes we feel incapable of getting close to others due to shyness or insecurity. A strategy is to participate in activities that involve social interaction, such as study groups, dance classes, or community events. Exposing yourself to new experiences can facilitate the establishment of genuine connections. Another issue is resistance to seeking help. Often, the idea of asking for help seems vulnerable. However, recognizing the need for support is a sign of strength. Seeking a counselor, therapist, or support group can provide tools and perspectives to deal with loneliness more effectively. Vulnerability is a fundamental step toward growth. Remember that the journey to overcome loneliness is personal and requires patience and perseverance. There's no magic formula, but rather strategies that can be adapted to your reality. Try different approaches, identify what works for you, and persist in the search for meaningful connections and a greater understanding of yourself. Finally, recognize that the journey of self-discovery is continuous. The pursuit of a greater understanding of yourself and your relationship with the world around you is a process that requires self-reflection and constant learning. A crucial insight is the importance of gratitude. By focusing on what we have, instead of focusing on what we lack, we can cultivate a more positive perspective and find inner strength. Imagine a person who, despite facing financial difficulties, finds joy in helping others. Gratitude for small things, like a sunny day or a gesture of kindness, can transform the experience of loneliness into a moment of self-discovery and strengthening. Another fundamental point is the practice of self-compassion. Instead of criticizing yourself for feeling lonely, practice self-care and understanding. Recognize that it's normal to go through difficult times and that you're not alone on this journey. An example of this is writing in a journal, allowing you to express your feelings and thoughts without judgment. Consider the case of an artist facing constant rejection in their work. Instead of being discouraged by criticism, they focus on their creative process and the pleasure of expressing their art. They find support in their artistic community, recognizing that the creative journey is full of challenges and that success is not linear. This example demonstrates how resilience and self-understanding are fundamental to overcoming loneliness. Furthermore, the search for meaning and purpose is vital. Identifying your purpose in life, whether through a hobby, volunteer work, or a spiritual connection, can bring a sense of belonging and direction. Imagine a young person who finds their purpose in helping those in need. This purpose gives them a sense of meaning and value, distancing the feeling of loneliness. In short, the key to understanding why are you never truly alone lies in integrating practices like gratitude, self-compassion, resilience, and the search for purpose. By incorporating these strategies into your life, you will be better prepared to navigate adversity and find the strength to continue on your journey. This transformative understanding will shape your way of seeing the world and your relationships. Studies show that chronic loneliness can have significant impacts on physical and mental health. Research from Harvard University, for example, shows a correlation between social isolation and an increased risk of heart disease and depression. Understanding that we are never truly alone, therefore, has practical implications for promoting well-being. Statistical data reveals that the feeling of loneliness affects people of all ages and backgrounds. A Pew Research Center study, for example, pointed out a significant increase in feelings of social isolation in recent years, especially among young adults. This reinforces the importance of delving into the understanding that connection with something greater or with other people is fundamental to mental health. A real-life example is a group of young people who joined forces to create a social project in their community. By connecting with a common purpose, they not only overcame their own feelings of isolation, but also brought hope and support to other young people. This experience demonstrates how the pursuit of a collective purpose can transform the perception of loneliness into an opportunity for growth and contribution. Another example is a professional who, facing difficulties at work, sought support in their network of contacts. They connected with mentors, colleagues, and friends, realizing that cooperation and the exchange of experiences were essential to overcoming challenges. This practical action demonstrates the importance of seeking support in moments of fragility. Understanding that we're never truly alone isn't just a philosophical concept. It's a reality with practical implications for health and well-being. Recognizing the importance of human connections and the search for purpose allows us to face loneliness with more resilience and find the strength to build healthier and more meaningful relationships. This transformative understanding can bring lasting benefits to all aspects of life. Now let's address some common questions about the idea that we're never alone. Often we think, but what about when things are really bad, when the pressure is unbearable? The answer is that even in those situations, the presence of God, or the higher power you believe in, remains present. A renowned psychologist, Dr. David Smith, for example, points out that the perception of loneliness is often amplified by the fear of the unknown. When we feel lost, the tendency is to isolate ourselves. But by recognizing that we're not alone, we open ourselves to hope and the search for solutions. What if I don't believe in God or a higher power? The idea of not being alone isn't limited to religious beliefs. It applies to everyone, regardless of their faith. You can find support in friends, family, support groups, or even in activities that bring you joy and meaning. A Stanford University study showed that people with strong social connections have lower stress levels. What if I still feel alone, even with people around me? This happens. The key is to identify the reason behind this feeling. Could it be a lack of communication, fear of opening up? It's important to ask yourself these questions and seek ways to resolve the issue. Learning to communicate more effectively and express yourself better are crucial tools. Remember, the idea that we're never alone isn't a guarantee that everything will be perfect overnight, but it's a promise that you don't have to face challenges alone. It's a tool for building resilience and finding support in times of need. And that, in itself, is a powerful force. Let's recap the key points. Loneliness is often a subjective experience, amplified by factors like poor communication, fear, and insecurity. But the fundamental truth is that you are never truly alone. Regardless of the circumstances, there's always a higher power, whether it's a spiritual connection, a meaningful relationship, or a supportive community that can support you. Understanding this transformative truth has practical and lasting implications. The key is to acknowledge your feelings, identify the causes of loneliness, and then take action. This means cultivating deeper relationships, seeking support during difficult times, and connecting with something larger than yourself. Now, how about putting what we've learned into practice? Start by identifying times when you felt most alone. Analyze the causes and seek practical solutions. If you need help communicating better, look for courses or mentors. If a lack of social connection is a problem, participate in groups, events, or activities that interest you. And remember, self-compassion is essential. By applying these insights, you'll be building a solid foundation for facing life's challenges with more resilience and positivity. You'll be opening yourself up to deeper connections, finding support in moments of vulnerability, and cultivating a stronger relationship with yourself and the world around you. Don't forget that the journey of self-discovery is continuous. Share your experiences and insights with the community in the comments below. Together, we can strengthen the understanding that we're never truly alone and create a supportive and learning space for mutual growth. Reflecting on the journey we've taken, we can conclude that the idea of "why you are never alone" is more than a phrase. It's a transformative truth. It invites us to look inward at our relationships and at the world around us with a different perspective. It's an invitation to recognize the constant presence of support, even in the most challenging moments. This understanding isn't an end, but a beginning. It motivates us to seek deeper connections, cultivate meaningful relationships, and find meaning in our journey. Learning to cope with loneliness, understanding that we're never completely isolated, empowers us to face challenges with more resilience and hope. Remember, the journey of self-discovery is an ongoing process. Don't expect to find all the answers at once. The key is to open yourself to learning, seeking, and gradually understanding. Explore different perspectives, books, lectures, or discussion groups that address topics related to loneliness, connection, and well-being. Share your reflections and experiences with us. How have you applied these ideas to your life? What are your next steps on your journey of self-discovery? Together, we can build a supportive and learning community, sharing insights and strengthening the understanding that, amidst life's journey, we are never truly alone. May this journey of self-discovery and connection inspire us to live fuller, more meaningful lives filled with love and hope. And remember, with each step, you find support and strength. You are never truly alone.